Now, although the warning, I still want to say this. This is a criticism video. There is a fine line between criticism and borderline harassment, and criticism is the way of showing flaws on a topic or a person for them to improve or reconsider some choices. This video is going to be split into 3 parts. First part is about greed, second about racism, and third about manchild-ness. Let's begin. Now, there is a big warship-shaped golden problem in the room with us, but I want to go into more detail besides just the golden warship. The core design of TDX is bent in such a way where things are designed around the grind. The purpose of the grind is for players to stay longer at the game, thus bringing the game more revenue over time. This inherently isn't a bad thing, because all games need to make revenue to stay alive. But TDX's grind takes this concept too far. For getting a singular tower, people shouldn't be forced to play the game for up to hundreds of hours. The grind at the earlier stage of TDX was handled better. With playing a few matches, up most a couple of hours, you could get towers to help you progress, but with the game getting bigger, and as you progress further into the game, getting things start to become a bigger problem. While getting towers took up most of your hours before, getting any high-end or nightmare tower cost tens, perhaps hundreds of hours. A nightmare round takes about an hour to complete, and you earn on average 1000 crystals per game. For getting towers like Refactor, you need to spend a minimum of 15 hours of gameplay just to obtain a singular tower. If you look at the event towers to see a better example, the battle pass are designed in a way so the more valuable stuff is put at the very end of the battle pass, leading you to spend even more time to obtain what you desire. Or let's look at the events that introduce newer currencies. Now, what do you think is the reason that you cannot buy a tower directly when an event drops? Because people who played the game in the past could have stored some money to buy the things as they release. So for preventing that, we have the events that introduce more currencies just for people to spend more time in the game.
Editing HD here. I am interrupting the video because while I was editing the video, look at what they added. America Homelander event. Somebody added new currencies into the game. Like they're proving my point that I'm making. Anyways, let's return to the video.
These are all made to increase the grind, thus increasing the revenue, although being staples of the game, with the grind being a feature to bring satisfaction and weight into the purchases itself. It's way too overdone, and at this point it is done solely to increase the income. And there are straight up problems like the existence of Golden Warship, charging people straight up $80 without any other way of obtaining the said thing. It is just wrong. It's made to increase the revenue, and overall it is just a greedy thing to do. Now, this is the part where things get more serious. I think we all know what happened, so I'm not going to go in detail. But after the events of John being proven of saying racist things in the past, the apology he made didn't match the scale of the controversy. At the prime of the allegations, there were videos made about John on a daily stance, and he answered to all those with just a 2-paragraph message. The message, although being apologetic, feels directionless. Instead of directly addressing the accusations, his statement spends a significant part of itself mitigating the problem with John's own experiences with poverty, with the statement saying he grew up in a poor neighborhood, and discrimination with him saying he's Mexican and there were racist jokes made in a said group. Now, while I believe those experiences are genuine, they don't address the actions he was criticized for, making the apology feel like an appeal to people's sympathy and to end the debate, rather than taking accountability for his actions. I personally forgive John, but as a person not from the Philippines, the country John said racist things about, I'm not the one to accept the apology. And up to this day, I still see people being mad or distrustful over John because of what happened and because they felt the apology did not fully address their concerns. The final topic I wanted to discuss is what I believe is a recurring pattern of immaturity, the manchild-ness, and poor handling of the community. Now, before I continue, I'm not saying John is a bad person. Everybody makes mistakes, especially if they are given a big responsibility of a large community. The point here isn't any single accident by itself, is a recurrence of the same problems and how John doesn't learn from any of them. Whether it's responding to criticism or handling community conflicts, there have been several occasions where things haven't been handled professionally. So I'm going to go over a few of them. One of the examples of John acting childishly is him publicly calling out a hacker in the TDX Discord server, with pinging everyone. The situation could and should have been handled privately without making the said hacker the target for the community. After John pinging everyone, the hacker got insults, hate, and death threats by the community. The hate got so bad it broke the confines of TDX and spread into other communities as well, such as Tower Defense Simulator. Exploiting is bad, indeed, but it doesn't condone anybody to be publicly harassed by multiple communities. Hate can negatively affect people, and it's not in any shape or form deserved for a simple hacking of a game. Now still, this does not justify the harassment towards John. However, this does not condone John's fault at the situation. Another example of an unprofessional behavior can particularly be seen with the banning of the announcement account during the release of the Golden War Machine. For announcing the release of Golden War Machine, Adraz has pinged announcement and announced the release of Golden War Machine. However, Adraz used the wrong ping and accidentally pinged a person called announcement instead of using the right ping. John's reaction to this wasn't treating this as a harmless mistake or just correcting it. It was to ban the announcement guy. The said person had not broken any rules and was not involved in the wrong ping station. Now, although being a small problem, the issue highlights the problem of how John doesn't care for the community. Banning a person for no reason isn't fair at any circumstance. Next, I got John's reactions and treatment for the community over the Golden Warship era. Upon the Golden Warship's release, community was outraged by the many problems Golden Warship has brought to the table. While the station was going on, John refused to take responsibility for the problems that arose with the Golden Warship's release. Even on his post addressing Golden Warship, John refused to accept the outrage as criticism and refused to take any action over improving the station for the future. What's worse is John's acting after the said post was made. With supposedly addressing the drama, John started to add fuel to the fire by essentially rage baiting the TDX community, whom were already pretty mad over John for his actions. Another thing to mention is that John said in the response he had this planned. This honestly is a concern, and it genuinely is shocking to see how he hasn't even reconsidered how the update could impact the game and the community. Which as of now we also know there were developers saying how bad of an idea this was to John, but he failed to listen. Also, his rage baiting essentially made the community realize he wasn't taking any accountability for his actions. Those are the three main issues I wanted to cover: greed, racism, and repeated immaturity in the way the community has been handled. None of these topics define a person forever. People make mistakes, and people can change. The problem is when the same kinds of mistakes keep happening without meaningful reflection or improvement. That's the pattern I wanted to point out throughout the video. I'm not asking anyone to harass John, attack him, or send hate. If anything, doing that would completely defeat the purpose of this video. Criticism exists so people can recognize the problems and improve from them. Harassment exists only to hurt people. They are not the same thing. If John genuinely takes accountability for these issues, listens to criticism instead of dismissing it, and makes changes going forward, then that's the good outcome. I don't want TDX to fail. I spent over 500 hours playing it, and I want it to become a better game with developers that actually care for the community. Whether you agree with everything I said or not, I encourage you to think about the points I raised instead of reducing the discussion to blind support or blind hate. Communities improve when criticism can be discussed honestly, and developers improve when they are willing to listen. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you for watching and see you later.